We move on to another big headline maker. When Prime Minister Erdogan met with protest organizers last week, it looked like a resolution to more than 3 weeks of protest might be possible. But over the weekend, the excessive force that human rights observers have criticized the Turkish police of inflicting upon protesters continued. Police fired tear gas canisters on a hotel being used as a protest base, sending panicked people inside rushing for exits. For a unique look inside what's happening in Turkey, our guest, our Professor Louis Fishman. He is teaching part-time for the year in Istanbul. And here in our New York studio, we have Oya Bain, who is an activist for Turkish-American relations. She's also a contributor for Turkish-NY.com. I want to welcome both of you and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Louis, let me start with you. We've seen many images in the media of what the protests looked like, what the opposition to the protests looks like, and very often images in the media can seem a bit inflammatory. Is it as extreme as it has looked to us?
Yes, if you go right in the neighborhoods where it's happening, it's very extreme. For example, yesterday, the neighborhoods surrounding Taksim were basically had street fights going on throughout the whole day with tear gas, water cannons, barricades being put up by the protesters. But the funny thing is, if you go 3 miles from that or 2 miles from that, you wouldn't know anything was happening. Of course, you can feel the tension in the air, but you wouldn't know anything was really happening. So it's really secluded to the areas around Taksim and the surrounding areas. But I have to add to that, in the evening times, a lot of times in different neighborhoods farther away, people come out and protest. They come out in the street, they hit pots and pans, different ways of expressing their dissent.
Do you feel safe, Louis, or no?
Absolutely. I mean, in that sense, once again, if you're a protester and you're going head on with challenging the police presence in a certain area, well then, yeah, it's dangerous because you can have a canister hit on your head. I myself in my home, even though it was right on our street, we had tear gas, we basically closed the window. I have to tell you though, at the same time, for elderly people or challenged people, that it's a different story. I mean, if you're an elderly woman or man living alone, you have tear gas coming in your house, it can be dangerous.
Indeed. Sit tight, Louis. I want to bring Oya into the conversation. Again, thank you so much for being here with us. Can you sort of talk through how this has escalated to such huge proportions? I mean, it was a peaceful demonstration about a park, about a green space, and now it's beginning to look a little revolutionary. What has led to this?
Well, the park, the Taksim Gezi Park, is a very symbolic park of the secular republic. And it has always been in the heart of the city. And many demonstrations, many programs have taken place. So the plan to destroy the park and put a shopping mall there, and also rebuild an old Ottoman military building, which really didn't have architectural value, was very, people protested. That was very hurting to the secular secular people. So what happened was, if the police did not respond with such force, it was a very peaceful demonstration. I came back on May 30th, and it had already started. Some of my friends, my age, and some of young relatives were participating. What brought the extreme response is the police was acting so out of proportion. Well, after the police action, which is not the first time, this brought back a lot of issues in Turkish politics and in the Turkish government. For the last 10 years, Turkey has done amazingly well. There we are on the G20, the growth rate is 5% average, income per capita went up 3 times, and it's really booming. However, the other side of it, the freedoms are being suppressed. Freedom of press, freedom of expression, and our best academicians and writers are in jail for several years, not knowing what's going on. So it's very hurting to see this paradox, and we hope that the Prime Minister is a very pragmatic man, and the party is very pragmatic, and they will see that what's happening, and they will adjust their governing style accordingly without too much damage to Turkey.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I know it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for all parties. We're going to have to stop the conversation right there. Oya Bain, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.